So, the other day I had, played a bit of zombies, just to get a taster for what this mode is like, and it was mainly because I was doing that whole base camo video where I was just, trying to unlock as many different camos as I thought were good in the game, and just to show them off, just to say which ones I thought were the top best base camos. And whilst I was doing that through the process of making that video over that week, it did make me have to go and play zombies in Modern Warfare 3, the Modern Warfare Zombies mode. And I was pleasantly surprised with the experience, to say the least. And, despite what I've said over this channel, kind of like, oh, Modern Warfare 3 Zombies is kind of mediocre, or it's a bit boring if there's not really much to do in it. And part of me, I still have to say, there is, a catch to what I'm saying there that does still, resonate with me regarding stuff to do, maybe. I still agree with part of that sentiment that, yes, you do technically need something to be doing if you want to really play that mode, if you really want to play that mode. But at the same time, I think as a standalone mode, it's actually still playable, especially for a certain demographic of players. And I have to say, despite what people are saying about this mode, or, just how much it's not really favored over the traditional round-based zombies, it still works as a game mode. And I do know that even though round-based would be preferable, I'm definitely more of a round-based fan, it's still technically, it still works. There is a way of doing things differently in that mode, how you can get lots of zombie kills, stuff like that. There's ways of doing that in this mode instead of just having the zombies come at you. Instead, you've got to look for those ways of gathering more kills. So it could be that you call in extractions. I do that a lot, and that's the easiest way of farming them. You could do contracts, so you could just destroy zombie ether spores, or you can go out and do the escort missions, or you can go and defend. This is honestly the biggest one that I hate, actually, is the one where you've got to defend the server and a bunch of mercs just drop in. You've got to fight them off, actual AI merc kind of characters. That one's probably the worst contract of them all. I've got to say, that's my biggest gripe with zombies in this mode. I hate fighting AI. This actually takes me quite nicely, speaking of AI, into DMZ, right? Because the DMZ community from Modern Warfare 2 is pissed with Modern Warfare 3 for this mode. The reason being is because this zombies mode isn't a round-based. It's very much like a cross between Black Ops Cold War Zombies Outbreak and Modern Warfare 2 DMZ mode. It's an extraction zombies mode, and so a lot of DMZ players are actually really triggered by the fact that this mode has basically taken the life away from DMZ by, on the surface, looking like a DMZ mode, but when you go into it, it has none of the challenge that DMZ has. It's not a PvP mode, it's more of a PvE mode, and you can still extract, but you don't really lose anything from it, and there's not really much of a focus on fighting AI and other players, like I say, because it's a PvE where all other squads that are inside of zombies are they're not able to kill you. You can actually somewhat work together, but they can't kill each other, so you're basically all just a massive squad that are in miniature squads, normal squads you'd be in Warzone or whatever, and you're all just doing your own thing in zombies. So it kind of takes the focus or the difficulty away from the mode, and a lot of DMZ players don't like this mode, so they can't really integrate into it from last year's game. Maybe they don't really like the whole focus on zombies, and they just preferred the demilitarized Warzone kind of vibe where you're just fighting AI and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. I understand why people who wanted more of a challenge and liked the AI kind of fighting and the fighting other players element, I can understand why they wouldn't like this mode. But at the same time, I personally can say that I don't like DMZ. I didn't enjoy it when I played it. I thought that it was way too strict, way too difficult. The fact that you had to fight other enemies on top of AI, I thought it was a bit overkill. Personally, that's just my opinion, and I didn't really have an incentive to play DMZ. But this year, I kind of have an incentive because I'm fighting zombies, and in zombies, you've got acquisitions you can use, there's the pack-a-punching, there's just the contracts that just feel, fun, like the actual zombies contracts. The fighting zombies in itself is more appealing for me than fighting AI. And there is some AI inside of this mode. Don't get me wrong, there is definitely some AI spaced over the map inside of Modern Warfare Zombies, but they don't really take the focal point. They're kind of just spaced in some areas of the map, and you can choose to challenge them or you can choose not to. Most of the time it's a dumb idea if you do choose to challenge them, because they have a bunch of sentry guns lined up. You know, they've got military armed mercs everywhere with these massive fucking guns, and it's not worth it. So I usually don't challenge them. There is also the mercs that kind of patrol the map inside of those armored vehicles. They're also just kind of best to avoid unless you're really filling up for the challenge and you've got a bootload of rocket launchers on you. I don't know. But the point is, I am more of a fan of this format of a extraction mode than I am with DMZ. That's just me, and I know there's a lot of other players who personally prefer this version of an extraction-based mode over DMZ. At the end of the day, anyone who's a Zombies fan would probably just prefer to have round-based over either of these options, but I would take this Zombies extraction mode over DMZ any day of the week, even if I don't really prefer it as my go-to Zombies kind of mode. So it's definitely an interesting one, and I have to say, you know, something that makes this kind of interesting in a way, that makes it a little bit more exciting, a bit more fruitful of a mode, is it's not just like walking around mindlessly shooting zombies. If you want to increase the challenge, you can go into higher threat zones. You can go into a medium threat zone, you can go into the high threat zones. They have almost an incentive to as well, because if you get a certain number of essence and you want to pack-a-punch your weapon to whatever level that you want to go up, you have to go to that specific zone to actually pack-a-punch at a pack-a-punch machine. You cannot pack-a-punch your weapon inside of a low threat zone if you've already got pack-a-punch 1. You would have to get number 2 at a medium threat zone, and then the third pack-a-punch would have to be in the high threat zone. So there is an incentive that drives you to push yourself to go into those dangerous areas of the map to get that, and it's kind of a risk-reward kind of thing. But at the same time, you know, there's also the fact that if you go into higher threat zones, there is more like special zombies. There's much more greater threats to fight. I think in the middle of the map in Urzikstan, there is, in the high threat zone, there's like this massive beast. I don't actually know what its name is, but it's absolutely humongous. And if you want to challenge that thing, I would imagine there must be some sort of unlock or reward for destroying that thing, because that thing is OP as fuck and it's massive. So I mean, generally speaking, there's definitely challenges in the zombies mode. And again, if you are finding it slow burn and that you're not getting enough zombie kills, well, you can always call in extractions or do contracts. They are always put all over the map for a reason, and they give you an incentive to call in masses of zombies and to swarm loads of kills. So there's other ways of gathering your kills in zombies as opposed to just having them come at you like in round based. So I think, yes, it definitely is better than I thought. I would say still there has to be an incentive for me to hop into this mode if there isn't going to be like this whole camo grind, or there isn't something else to do. There has to be a reason for me to go into this. And there's also less of a community, I've noticed. Apparently, you know, when you go to DMZ, I don't know this too well, but I've heard a lot of other people said that DMZ had a lot of interaction, players talking over chat, proximity, whatever. And in zombies, I mean, I've noticed it a bit, but it's not as much. I still think there is definitely some wholesome connection inside of zombies. I've had many people, and it's quite common actually in Modern Warfare Zombies, for you to get knocked and another team will actually come and revive you if you make the plea for help when you get knocked or downed, which is quite nice. At least you can stay in the game a lot longer than if you were in traditional round base, where if you were downed and your whole team was down, you would all be dead and that was it. The rounds were over, the game was finished. But in this mode, you can endlessly get revived as long as somebody comes to help you, and you can always join another squad. If your squad abandons you and you're on your own, you can, you know, request to join another squad, or a squad can invite you to join their squad. And I think that's a really nice feature that kind of keeps the ball moving. You can keep staying alive longer, but at the same time, there's always that possibility that someone might not revive you, or, you know, your whole squad gets killed and you have to leave anyway. So it does generally, it has its challenges and it has its little risks and rewards, but I think it's more chill, and I think it's quite nice as well that Call of Duty actually gave us a mode that promotes chilling out as opposed to the traditional sweating and ranked play and all that kind of thing, because I genuinely am surprised they're promoting these kind of modes nowadays. You'd think they wouldn't sell very well, and yeah, generally speaking, a lot of people aren't really playing the zombies in Modern Warfare 3, but still there's a lot of people that do play it, and you'd be surprised, like, you'd think, oh, well, if it can't be that popular, why are they still making modes like this? Especially after last year when DMZ more or less failed. Like, it had some form of a community, but it more or less failed as a general, and that's why they haven't carried on DMZ in this game. It was just kind of a tester. It didn't really do well, so they gave up on it and instead crossed DMZ with zombies, and it's done a lot better, I would say, for this year. You'd think, like, when it doesn't do that well, why would they make another extraction-based mode? And I think that the best thing, really, is that sometimes Call of Duty has to take a leap to do something they want to do for once instead of just listening to the community, because if they just listen to the community, I have to say right now, it would be an utter shambles. The game would be a complete fucking mess because people always contradict one another. One half the community wants one thing and the other wants the other, and I think even then, if you were to listen to the community, most of them would be just complaining like, oh, we want these kind of modes where there's more challenges and there's more grinds and there's more like ranked plays and sweatiness, and I think that is part of like the numbing experience of modern gaming. Everyone's kind of brain rotted. Everyone thinks everything has to be difficult and challenging and has to have a reason to do it. And, you know, I'm definitely, a victim of this. I definitely have this mindset as well, that I have to be grinding towards something. And it's not really a nice mindset, because if you look at what COD used to be, if you look at gaming as a general, people just played for the fun and they could chill out. And I think it's probably healthier for the community that COD does put out modes like this, regardless of how people are going to receive it. Because whether there's already people that do, and there definitely is, whether there's already people who like those kind of modes and aren't with all the sweats and they like to just chill out and they play Call of Duty in small doses or gaming in small doses, or whether, the people are just sweats. I think the sweats could do with giving these kind of modes a chance, with the fact that they're being sort of shoveled out, spoon-fed to us as a part of the game that we paid for. I think it kind of opens your eyes a bit more and gives you the choice of thinking, I could try that out, and you have the potential for your mind to be changed. And I definitely have had my mind changed for certain. It's made me rethink over my intentions for gaming and Call of Duty in general, and it's allowed me to think like, damn, I was not really excited at the prospect of playing this kind of a mode, but you know what? Because I paid so much money for this game and it's a part of the game and it's there, part of it made me want to give it a chance, and because I played it, I've had my mind changed. So I think to keep having these kind of modes where we don't have to sweat, where it doesn't have to be like skill-based matchmaking multiplayer with all these ranks and people trying hard, I think it's quite relieving, and it's quite nice to have a mode where you don't have to try as hard unless you really want to, of course, going into the higher threat zones, but you could just chill out and just shoot zombies. And I think that as a concept just works as a mode, regardless of what people think generally of this zombies mode compared to prior zombies experiences. I think it just works. It's definitely unique, it's different. Whether or not people like it down the line is a different subject altogether. There's always the chance that people will still be bashing this zombies experience for years to come afterwards, but I honestly don't think that's going to happen, because if you look at Cold War, that one got a load of shit for the fact that you just had to have all these pack-a-punches and all the perks that you could get on your weapon. There was not a punishment to the fact that you had a maximum or whatever number of perks. You could get as many perks as you wanted, all of them out of the vending machine, whilst in the past it would have been there was a cap, so you had to really think which ones you really needed. It made you prioritize certain perks, and there was certain challenges to all the zombies that made you have to move about more, whilst Cold War zombies had you just sit in a corner and you were fine as long as you were pack-a-punch free with every single perk on your character. And so that got a lot of shit for that, right? It got a lot of shit for the fact that there wasn't really a risk reward. There wasn't a lot of things to keep you entertained after you'd done all the general setups of the match and then just sitting in a corner. But look at it now. Look at all the people who are praising Cold War Zombies, talking about how it's one of the best zombies in recent years, how everyone loves it, how people still play it now. I think the same thing will probably just happen with this game, People will say all this shit about how it was a boring, slow burn extraction zombies mode, and then some people will come back and say, actually, you know what? It was unique. It wasn't round-based like every other year, and we get to fight and extract from a zombies kind of open world experience, which is different, It definitely has its own flavor, let's just say that. I know because of how zombies is fundamentally set up in this game, round-based probably will never come into this game, because just from opening the very lobby for Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, it's set up as an extraction-based DMZ kind of zombies game. It's not like a mode inside of zombies. The whole zombies is an extraction zombies mode. It's not like Cold War, where Outbreak was just a playlist inside of a general zombies mode. It's not the same thing as that. And so I can see maybe there is no chance for round-based this year, but with the alleged Black Ops Gulf War or whatever's coming out next year, I don't exactly know what the name is. That's kind of the rumors everyone's saying. If that Black Ops game next year does have a zombies, I'm hoping we do see a round-based, of course, but let me know what you guys think of zombies inside of Modern Warfare 3. Also, I just want to show you these little clips on screen. They are probably really shit in terms of their frame rate because I clipped them on my Xbox as opposed to using my Elgato, but these are just some little things that I actually really like about zombies in this game. Like, there was this really cool motorbike that I got, and it was like indestructible for the most part. It just mows through zombies. It was really fucking cool looking as well. It was like purple flamed. And then there was this other clip I just got the other day when I was in zombies where I got one of my first wonder weapons, you know, in zombies this year, and it was kind of like this double wielded weapon where one end is just blasting in off the ground like an anti-gravity jump gun, and the other thing's just an actual gun on the front. It's crazy. So I just thought I'd show you those little clips. There were some things I got in zombies that I, you know, thought were really cool about this mode. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting things in this mode for sure. So let me know what you think again. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy, if you agree, whatever it may be. As always, follow the Instagram, join the Discord, check out the merchandise, and check out the other channels. But with that being said, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.